Good evening. Welcome, folks. Episode 335. And tonight we are featuring Guro Mark Stewart. And for those who don't realize, Guro Mark was on way back, episode 23 to be exact. And where that was definitely covered more of his bio. Today he's got a training partner and he's going to be mostly doing demos. So they're going to be doing demos in Panuntukan and I think some Gumtao, if I'm not mistaken. So should this be pretty exciting? So I'm looking forward to it. If there's anything particular you want to see from him, by all means, just put it in the comment section there, and I can definitely pass a message on if there's something in particular you want him to demo. And without further ado, I'm going to be bringing him up now.
What up?
Hey there.
Yesterday the screen looked wider. Something you did made it wider. So, is there anything you can do? Because
yeah, when you guys are about to do your thing, like I said, I can lower. So watch.
Okay.
So,
Timmy,
yeah.
just put over then. I'll introduce Timmy when we go wide then.
Yeah. So when you get ready to do your thing, that's no problem.
Okay.
I'll lower myself. So I did get a question in. I don't know if you want to answer it now or save it for later. It's up to you.
Now let's be live. Let's be live, brother.
So the question is, now this is from Francesca Isabella. So her question is, can you speak on your early days with Louis Campos?
Oh, hell yeah. He's none of this would have happened without Louis Campos in regard to me moving to the West Coast and meeting the people, all of my instructors, every one of them. So Louis Campos lived in Chicago, and at the time he used to drive to Kalamazoo, Michigan, which is about 2 hours and 47-minute drive when traffic is clear. And just to train in Uechi-Ryu karate, Okinawan karate, right? And and at the time, I was already learning arnis from Guro Edgar Guevara, and that was Dosei Paras at the time. And then later, switched over to Pakiti Tersha, and I got a chance to train with Grandmaster, or what, Supreme Grandmaster. God. And so we would trade material together, a bunch of different material. So that's how we met each other. He would come down each month, like for 3 or 4 days, and train at the dojo. And then after training at the dojo, we'd go outside to the park and do all of our other stuff. And he was really the inspiration for me to make that move to California. And like I say, once I got out there, we hooked up. And he introduced me to Randy Williams, who he was training with. And I lived in San Diego and commuted all the way up to LA to train with those guys every weekend. Spend the night at Randy's house, do Gung Fu on Friday night, watch Pee Wee Herman on Saturday morning, train.
That's
Friday
critical.
We'd go out after training. So we were hung over for Pee Wee Herman. And then broke a sweat and got that hangover out of us. And then the next day on Sundays, well, actually Saturday nights, I would spend the night at Louis' house. And then on Sunday, we would train Kali in his garage. And basically, and then he introduced me to everyone. I mean, that was the thing that got me to all my instructors. And Guro Ted, Guro Dan, Ted Wong, you name it, all of them.
Oh, wow. So he was definitely, sounds like he was pretty instrumental in your journey. Okay. So that was a
dedicated I've ever met in my life.
So she's got a second question, which is, you taught at San Antonio College. How was it? And she asked why you left.
I left to move to Thailand.
Okay. So what did you teach there?
Time I was teaching 30 hours a week at Mount Sac, UCLA, USC, Cal State Long Beach, Loyola Marymount. You name any college or university in the LA area, and I was teaching classes there. And then I gave that up. It was the most lucrative experience I ever had.
Imagine.
That was good money. I was, between $50 and $100 per hour with benefits.
Wow. How'd you get that? So did you just elicit, I mean, the colleges themselves, and you got on, how did it happen?
Yeah, I was considered an adjunct professor, so
Got
they
it.
did
Okay.
based upon my life experience as an expert in martial arts. And of course, being in the magazines on the covers and writing articles was real helpful to get that type of position.
Like you said, though, that'd be incredibly lucrative. I mean, if
Yes,
you,
I enjoy teaching in that atmosphere in colleges and universities more than any other forum.
so, okay, so, and this was circa 90s or
It was from 92 to 2001. And then I moved.
2001. That's a long time. Okay, so, and you were teaching, and what, so just, this is my question, just more out of curiosity. Was it JKD and FMA?
I taught separate subjects, and the subjects at that time were JKD, Muay Thai,
Mhm.
and women's self-defense in separate classes.
That's awesome. Wow, wow, wow. And my last question before you guys get on your demos, what made you move to Thailand?
Well, well, that too, but yeah, I've always been interested in Asian culture because of martial art, and or not exactly because of. I don't know which came first, but I've always been really interested in Asian culture and philosophy,
Yeah.
and martial arts, of course, and somehow I really fit in over there, especially in a tropical environment. I don't like dry weather. I like humidity. I really like humidity.
Really? You're one
Yeah.
of the few that I've met that says, sign me up for humidity.
Yeah, no, I love it. Really. When I come here, it's like I'm out of place, man. Yeah.
Yeah, well, you're in Michigan, and now it's starting. The temps are starting to. I mean, yeah, yeah. This is, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it was everything that the reason I moved there. But I had a dream as a teenager to someday move to and live in Asia, and I finally did. In excuse me, in 1994, I'll step back. 1989, Randy Williams moved to Singapore, and I went to stay with him for a month. And that's the first time I taught internationally. It was in Singapore, and I taught Kali. And I taught his Wing Chun group Kali, and he had 100 students, dude.
Wow.
He had 100 students, and then the next return to both Singapore and the first time in Thailand was 94, and I fell in love with Thailand. I trained at Sidyatong camp in Pattaya, and it's a very famous Muay Thai camp. You've probably heard of it. And
I have,
they
yeah.
have American branches and stuff, and so anyway, yeah, I fell in love with it, and I said, yeah, I'm on here, dude, and I did.
So you moved. I mean, you were still single, whole 9 yards when you went.
That's right. Yeah, so I got a taste of the man's world, you could call it man's world, they would call it, and I know that's politically correct, but I'm not politically correct, so
Well, let's clarify that right now for the audience. You are not politically correct.
Right. You have entered a no PC zone, and if I have Coke and a smile, have a Coke and a smile.
Let's get that out of the way right now, folks. If you're watching, this is a no.
So yeah, I think that's about it. So
Yeah. No. I was just curious, and I probably asked that question in the first interview with you, but like I mentioned, it was back in episode 23. So that's a good at least 2.5 years ago.
That's 2.5 years ago. I'm happy to be on, man. I really like what you're doing, and it's amazing how the growth in your Facebook group as well as the growth in the.
I tell you, if you asked me 3 years ago,
yeah,
like you'll do 300 and something episodes, you will have 10,000 members of your group. I would start laughing. I'm like, is anybody going to listen to me?
It goes to show you how popular FMA is, doesn't it?
Or I think that in conjunction with the void that we had with nobody covering FMA,
Yeah.
So I think the combination thereof, I mean, I think, yeah, I think anyhow, yeah.
Well, I think it's just a huge underground is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, and yeah, and so hopefully continues and folks get more exposure on here. You know what I mean? That's always been the goal. You
Yeah.
know, highlight people, get them exposure,
Yeah.
and so forth. So as I mentioned on the opening, far as the demos, you were going to do demos in Panuntukan, and then you were also going to touch upon some Kuntao. Is that correct?
Yeah, well, I'm glad you brought that up because let me clarify the terminology that Guru Ted used. Okay.
Sure.
So he called his art Lucaylucay Kali because the major influence, I will go out on a limb and say the major influence was the Villabrea Largusa Kali. But of course, he also integrated, well, I won't go to integration yet. He taught them separate first and integrated them in his own fashion. Okay. So, of Largo Mano from Leo Heron and Serrades from Angel Cabales. So those are the three main factors. Of course, he trained with other masters and they influenced him, but those
Okay.
are the primary ones. All right. And he just called that Lucaylucay Kali. But internally in his curriculum, Kali was Villabrea. The term Kali was used for Villabrea Kali, Villabrea Largusa. The term Eskrima was used for Serrada. And the term Arnis was used for Leo Heron's system. And so apparently at the time, those were the terms that those cats were using.
Okay.
Okay. And so getting back to the subject of what we're going to be talking about, which is the empty hand expression of it, is there's two primary facets to his empty hand that were taught separately and then integrated. Okay. So the major one was what he called Panuntukan, right? And we know the story that originally Guro Lucky wanted to call it Suntakan. So we've been through all that before. I think everyone knows that whole story. So it would be just talking too much about that. So for whatever reason, they decided to run with Panuntukan, and but it wasn't a generic term to them. It was Western boxing influenced by the knife.
Okay.
And, I'm not sure that it's all for everyone refers to it in that fashion. And so Guro Lucky called it Kali boxing, and Guro Ted called it blade awareness boxing. All right. And I want to mention Maija. You know our friend Maija. I mean, I've never met Maija, but I'm highly impressed with Maija, who you had on. Or is it Maya? How do I pronounce it?
Oh, yes, Maya. Yeah.
Maya. Is that how it's pronounced?
Yeah, Maya. Yeah.
So Maya brought up a point once when we were having a chat in a message group, and she said, well, you can stretch the idea of weapon-centric or weapon principle-based empty hands to the point where it's not functional, and I totally agree. You have to know
What a point by her.
From weaponry into empty hands. Otherwise, you're using the principle to do bullshit, to be honest with you.
Which has, as we know, that kind of brought up in the FMA FAMA 3-part series we did, we kind of touched upon that, how it gets so far to the right where it's, you know what I mean? Yeah.
Well, you're impressed with a principle, but then the principle, you just like go all wild and shit. And
yeah, before you know it's
thing, but you cannot apply it to everything, at least without modification. And then if you have to modify it so much that it's unrecognizable from the weaponry, it's not really worth it.
No, and that's happened, or the famous saying, yeah, what you can do empty hand, what you can do with weapons, you can do empty hand. Yes, you can, but the consequence, you know what I mean? The consequence.
Yeah, it's like some things are optimal function and other things are not. So you're looking for optimal function. What you take from something is optimal function.
Yeah. And I don't think enough people clarify that. They just make that blanket statement, and yeah, sure you can do it, but doesn't mean it's the best, most functional thing to do. But I get why they do it because it serves a blanket as far as translation what they're teaching.
Yeah. Okay, so let me continue on that line of thought, right? So Panuntukan was the Filipino boxing, but in my opinion, like we discussed, I think it's Filipino American boxing, all right? And then we had the elements of the open hand stuff.
Okay.
Saying that they don't punch in it, but the emphasis is on open hand raking, palming, back of a hand, slapping, eye jabs, everything that you would do with open hands, right? And including inside and outside of forearms, elbow strikes, shoulder strikes, headbutts, da da dee da da da. So it's the entire body, all tools, all target kind of concept. So when Guru Ted used the term Panuntukan, that's what he meant by it. Even though it was Filipino boxing, he was implying that it was full spectrum. Now, internally, he used the term sikaran to describe kicking. So it was Panuntukan sikaran. Publicly, he just used Panuntukan, and I remember he made the video for Unique Publications, and it said Panuntukan Filipino kickboxing, if you recall.
Okay.
So that was the public way of trying to promote it, right? And so getting to the other subjects, let me continue on that was called Mano. So the empty hand of the more traditional not open hand, I keep saying it wrong. Yeah, open hand, because I sometimes use empty hand and open hand interchangeably, but they're not the same thing. Open hand comes primarily, from the Villabrea Largusa empty hand stuff. And if you research it, and it's hard, it's hard to find stuff on that crew is really, really secretive, right? And you guys know that. All you guys know that. And all you dudes out there that do it, you know it. You're proud of it being secretive. So I'm cool with that too, and I'm happy that I was exposed to a bit of it. So anyway, it turns out that also that they were highly influenced by Chinese martial arts, Ben Largusa, and even Floro Villabrea was. So just research that and you'll find it. And Guro Ted studied a number of Chinese martial arts as well, and integrated it within his Mano. And internally, he referred to it as Kun Tao. Externally, he referred to it as Gung Fu, but they're the same thing. Kun Tao simply is the Hokkien dialect of, it means head of the fist, okay? And some have misinterpreted that as meaning fist way, like Kun Tao, like Jeet Kun Tao, right? Kun Tao. And I actually, some people do use it that way. And so I'm not sure if it's actually both of them are proper, and it just depends what camp use it. Or actually, the first thing that I found is that Don Draeger, when he did the book, Southeast Asian Fighting Styles, that he referred to the Kun Tao as having those Chinese characters where it meant fist way. Okay? So there's a little bit of confusion, and people, they think that's bullshit and the other one's bullshit. And maybe both of them are used. Anyway, regardless, those people, the Hokkien, migrated to all of Southeast Asia and brought their Gung Fu with them, right? But Kun Tao, that's what they called it in Southeast Asia. Now they don't call it Kun Tao anymore. They call it Gung Fu, all right?
I wasn't aware of that. They changed. Okay.
Yeah, they have the Indo-Malay dialects that use the term Kun Tao, but it means something entirely different.
Okay.
And I don't know what the reality is on all those terms like that. I use Kun Tao because I like it.
That's what I was. I mean, I always was told they left. They fled the Fujian province for whatever reason, depending on who tells you the story. Went down to Southeast Asia, but I never knew that the actual term changed. But interesting. Hey, we got some folks saying
it was Hokkien, Hakka, and Fujian. Those three moved.
Okay.
They were the cats that moved all around Southeast Asia. They were the fishermen, the traders, and the merchants.
Okay. Yeah. We got all right. We got Russell saying hi. We got Brian Canada. We got Thomas Pena. We got Alvin Albano saying hi from California. We got Jay DeLone from Cebu. Bram Frank. Chris Nally from Georgia. Terry Joven from Stockton. Noah King. And GM Yulee.
Really?
GM Yulee. Yeah.
You're totally on.
We got my man GM Yulee. And we got Royce Ramos from New York. And we have somebody here. And I'm going to reach on a limb, and I think it's Paul. Why do you guys always want to claim something that you didn't originate? Filipino boxing is just that, Filipino boxing. Just because you train the art formed for years doesn't give you the right to change its origins, add American to it. You were giving a gift, leave it that was given to you.
I have the right to do whatever the hell I want to do, and that's the answer to that question. So let's move on, please.
Sure. So if you, whenever you're ready to do the demos, your call.
I mentioned something. I have a high respect for the Calis Ilustrisimo people in the Philippines, and I love the direction. Well, I've loved always what they did, but I love the direction that they're heading into now. So I'll just get that out of the way. I did want to say something else. Now I forget. Anyway, so yeah, we'll move on, and I'll keep, when things come to mind, I'll try to bring them up. So
yeah. So what do you want to what do you think about showcasing first?
Yeah. So let's go to widescreen, and then I can talk about what.
All right. Yeah, and when you're done, you just let me know, and I'll pop back up. Okay.
Okay.
All right. I'm going to go down below.
That looks pretty damn good. Come on up, Timmy G. That's not too bad. We're going to have to do real small footwork, which is actually way more practical, and that's how we should be doing it. Okay, so let me introduce Timmy G first. So Timmy G, a.k.a. the Red Dragon, a.k.a. the Puppy Master.
Excuse me, Mark.
Yeah.
When I lower myself, I can't see your guy's face, so you might want to just adjust. Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to lower myself again, but basically seeing you guys kind of like chest level. Okay.
Yeah, that's cool.
Okay.
All right. So the story of we met forever ago, but we've been training together since about 1990 or 91. And Tim has traveled extensively in Southeast Asia and went to Indo and did Silat, and went to the Philippines and did Arnis. And he came to Thailand to stay with us and trained with a mad professor for a while. But he's one of my representatives here in Michigan, and so he's been around forever, and he's highly talented martial artist. But the story of the Red Dragon is that he came over with one of those. Here's just gonna go show you. He came over with one of those 1980s costumes that the Filipino martial artists wore in the United States at the time, right? And he showed up to class in Bangkok, and I go, ladies and gentlemen, the Red Dragon has arrived. So that stuck with him ever since then. This is it right here.
Hence, we try to keep it light, right, guys?
Okay. So that's the Red Dragon right there. Okay, so I think that's about enough of the Red Dragon story. Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to try this, Mark. Oop.
Yeah. Well, I can go back down here because I wanted to right now just thank Blade Master Bram Frank for giving me these lovely blades. And he also gave me some folders. He asked me what I wanted, and I like fixed blades. And these are perfect for how I like to play, all right? Play seriously or not, right? And so, they're matching. You guys have seen them before. You have a trainer and you have a live blade, right? And they're just fantastic quality. And here's the trainer. And thank you very much, Bram. You're a gem. And so I just wanted to bring that up. And these are great, man. I love them. And I have the two folders. The folders as well, the trainer. Yeah. Well, and so I just wanted to bring that up. And these are great, man. I love them. Say again, Dean?
Oh, no. Somebody just mentioned if you can you angle the camera?
Downward or upward?
Upward.
Okay.
A little more. I think you're going to be good to go.
Okay.
Just a little more. I'm sorry. I'm seeing the palm. I'm
No,
seeing.
that's all right. Chin. I do this all the time, man. It's just that.
All right. Let's see now. That should. Can you back up more? Because you would be. Okay. Perfect. Right. If you guys do your demo there, I can see your faces, everything. Perfect.
Okay. Good. All right. So what we're gonna do then is we're gonna go double daga. Okay, but you don't have to go double daga, but it's just representative. And you guys have seen some of this stuff before, of course. Someone's calling me. How ridiculous.
Uh,
All right.
okay.
You can see both of us. Tim, you just stand in back of me a little bit. Yeah. Oh, it's amazing how it's backwards always. I'm actually on the left, but I'm on the right in my
Yeah. But if you
Okay.
back up to where he is, we'll be able to see everything. Yeah.
So anyway, I'm going to refer to these because I have the right to change terminology. Damn it. All right. Because I use terminology that I understand, because I end up doing things better if I use terms that make sense to me. All right. So I'm going to call this grip the long grip, as in length. Okay. And I'm going to call this grip the short grip. Now, we all know there's various terms for all these, right? Songab, dongab, pikal, blah, 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 which is great. Okay. So what we're going to get into now, all right, is the footwork platform, or how, which takes me back to this, the term optique. Guru Ted used the term optique, and I now call what I do Kali optique. All right. And there's many variations of the understanding of what optique means. There are different dialects use them, and they have different meanings. So what Guru Ted meant by it was the final link in a kinetic chain of movements. Okay? And a kinetic chain of movements, I'll break it down for you right now, and Tim's going to do the same thing that I do because he's used to doing it. I have my arm only. Okay, I have my arm and my waist. I have my arm, waist, and hips. Now, the hip moving, some people think that's the waist. Those are three different things already. The next addition is the stance turning. But if you notice, I'm not turning my front foot. The reason is because the force is going forward. We are thrusting or stabbing. If I go this way, my front foot will turn. Okay, but if I'm here, and I'm creating forward pressure, or can we say the primary way of attacking that generates the best results, okay, optimal function, right? That's what you want to do. So I don't really want to turn my rear foot and go like this, although you could, but there's nothing in there, you know? All right, so then we have partial stepping, which is just, of course, stepping forward, okay? Stepping backwards. Okay, and this gets into the asterisk now, the 8 directions. Sideways and sideways, angle and angle, back and back. But those are all partial steps. Okay? Now, even the shifting, you can hit the angles on the shifting, but not all of them. This is another example of how you can't stretch a principle too far because it won't work. So you would let people like to think that, oh, I can do everything in the asterisk. Well, not really. You have to modify it somewhat. So I'll give you an example. If I go into the diagonal lines forward and backwards, okay, I can turn and shift off and do angular attack this way, okay? But if I do it this way, I lose my balance, okay, because I have nothing there. So this is when I have to take a partial step. All right, and it's the same thing. It's the same thing when I travel backwards here. When I travel backwards, it's this way. Okay, when I travel backwards here, it's this way. Okay, so this can be stationary. Okay, I can't go back here stationary. I can, but again, it's like I've lost my balance. It makes no sense whatsoever. So I add optique. Another example of optique is that, you know, there's something in it. Bang, you know, it has a definite ending, right? All right. So that's pretty clear. Then you have, of course, the short grip, right? And it's the same kind of thing. All right, exactly the same thing. Now, the other thing that I want to get across is that the slashing, right, and the thrusting. Okay, so you can slash or thrust. Then you combine slashing and thrusting, right? And thrusting and slashing on all 8 lines, okay? And these do work on all 8 lines, okay? You can thrust or slash on all 8 lines. Now, I would include a ninth line, which is just the simple thrust up the middle. So you got your asterisk, and then this is number 9. And again, all this stuff too, it's the same. Down the middle, the angles, diagonal upward. Now here I have to change position to make this right, because it's not going to be like, you see what I'm saying? So you don't want to stretch these principles too far. Okay? All right. Now, the last element that I'm going to say is that, so you have shifting, you have partial stepping, you have full stepping. Okay? That's a 1-2. Partial step is 1, full is 1-2. Okay? Combination stepping is boom, 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 boom. All right? And so that's pretty much how we play. Then lastly, we find that angular attack is superior to straight. And that doesn't mean you won't use straight, okay? Of course you will. You go straight forward, you go straight backwards, all right?
Hey, Guru?
You do more fighter-educated way, so to speak.
Guro Mark?
You have step throughs, you have sliding step, you have partial step, da-da-dee-da-da-da. And those are all practice isolated before integrated. So what we'll do next, Timmy G and I, is we'll use all the facets and just freelance it. So that's what we'll do next, okay?
Hey, Guro Mark?
Why don't you go ahead and go short? You go short. Even though he's longer than me, he's got a longer blade because I drag it. That's what she said. Okay, so anyway, no, getting back to me, fool.
Hey, Guro Mark?
Huh?
Hey, I just got a message. They're saying they still can't see you. Can you back up when you're doing this or tilt the camera more?
Yeah, I wish the camera could go horizontal, but on live it doesn't work.
No, that's, yeah.
Any better?
Yeah, if you back up one more step. Perfect. Now they can see both of you. Yeah, if you could stay right in that area. Yeah.
Okay, great. All right, so so now the idea is that sometimes we're just shifting forward or backwards, right? Angular and all that stuff. Thrust and slash, right? Slash and thrust. Okay, so it's obvious, right? And then of course he's going short, so it's the same thing, but it's just shifting. Now the thing is, what you'll find is stance turning or shifting will give you an angle. For instance, if I shift horizontally, laterally on this plane, I set up an angular attack, and vice versa. Here I've stolen the corner, so to speak, but without stepping. You understand what I mean? So here it's the same thing. Okay, it's the same thing. I'm not striking up the middle in this one, you know. I'm using an angular attack, but this is coming in at an angle, and because my body and head get out of the way, there's a defensive element into the strike. I'm not keeping my spine and my head there like this, sorry, and going like that because I'm still in the way. So get out of the way. Get out of the way. All right? All right, so that's one thing. Now, so go ahead, we'll freelance a little bit more. So we got the shifting and we got the partial stepping. Okay? Then we have the full stepping, like I said before. And that's when we go off frame, because now we're talking about push steps, shuffle steps, or replacement steps, if you want to call them that. Again, there's so many different terms floating around out there. And so you're meant to express them all, okay? Then, so we're playing and we're freelancing. That can be done in the high line, low line, right? Thrust and slash, slash and thrust, bada bing, bada boom, right? Then we talk about the angulation again. The diamond pattern, okay? For us is this, boom, boom. I know I'm going off. Let me get back a little bit more, Timmy. Where am I? Okay.
You're good.
Boom, boom. Okay? And boom, boom. All right? Now, the lateral triangle is the hourglass. Okay? There's two different versions of it. I'll slash this time. This is moving forward, and this is moving backwards. So my initial step moves forward, but my second one moves backwards. Okay, and it's the same thing on the other side. Okay, like that. All right. The other version is is a bit more percussive. So what I mean to say is that, well, I'll walk back. I'll go back to the diamond again. So I can take partial steps to do the diamond, but the full steps look something like this. Okay, so I'm just very Mike Tyson-esque, hopping, powering my strike. I'm not jumping high, but I'm off to the side now. I've done the same thing. But again, getting back to optimal function or primary way, the primary way is to get flanks while moving forward. The other way is to move backwards at the lines and then mix them up and integrate them. So if that makes any sense to you, this is our base. Then, of course, it applies to the fists, the fingers, the open hand, the elbows, inside and outside the forearm, head and shoulder, knee. And today we're just going to take it as far as use of the arms, okay, use of the elbows and knees. And we're going to leave it at that. All right. But of course, it's comprehensive. Like I said, it's all tools, all targets. Everything that you have has to be used. Okay. Now, I want to make sure that I cover everything that I wanted to get across. The other thing that you're talking about is doing them in the 3 timing factors: before, during, and after. And we all know that comes from it's a universal principle that can be applied to all aspects of life. But what we're talking about is the timing elements of before, during, and after. Before really means you rely on your awareness, a super awareness. And any preparation of attack, whether it's mental or physical, it's really preemptive. But it's preemptive still based upon you having the feeling that that dude's going to attack you. All right? Then you have during the exchange, okay, which is the most common one that happens in regard to, we'll call it interception, okay? Then, of course, you have after. So we all know that after is getting the hell out of the way, maybe cutting a minor, and then going to major. All right? We know that stuff already. So it has to be expressed in those 3 ways, isolated first and then integrated, because when it's integrated, it's hardwired, and there's, it's the idea that it's all spontaneous and improvisational, and that you don't have the answer to every question. You have the answer to any question, and those 2 things are different. And if you give that some thought, you'll work that out. So in regard to the hand, you ready to rock, brother? Okay, so we have the same breakdown, right? We have the shifting. Everyone's familiar with the shifting. Okay, now I'm hooking and I'm doing straight shots. All right, we have that. I go strong side lead because it's a weapon principle. Okay. However, we do tactical switching, and I don't say tactical to be tactical. Tactical means I have a damn reason to switch. That's all that it means. I have a reason to do shit. I have strategy, which is the overall game plan, okay, which is kind of an objective thing. In reality, it becomes subjective because you're not in control of every situation. And thus, you get into tactics, okay? You get into tactics. Then you have tools, okay? Tools are what you use, okay? And then you have mechanics is how you use it. Some people refer to that as technique. You see what I mean? And again, we have the process, and again, I've learned this from the best, in my opinion, of isolation before integration. And that's why I'm currently calling what I'm working on the pressure continuum, which means in regard to partner training, you have a fully compliant partner, a semi-compliant partner, and a totally non-compliant partner to varying degrees, right? And that's the process you go through to practice safely, and finally go really hard and fast, and still be friends without killing each other. You see what I'm saying? So that's the approach that we use. All right. And we're going to show a little bit of that today in regard to the empty hand stuff, right? But it's got to be done with weaponry and with knives and sticks and all that kind of thing. So the point now again is that we keep it simple yet sophisticated. It doesn't become complicated, because we know that complicated things don't necessarily translate into effectiveness in a real life scenario. But to say something is simple doesn't mean it has something simple has a lot of detail into it, because otherwise it won't work either. It will be too simple. You see what I'm getting at? All right, so let's get into the shibby shoobies. Okay, we're going to start with the stepping forward and stepping backwards. Okay, so we're going to just do the jab and the cross. Okay, with partial steps here and here. Okay, you're all familiar with that. Everyone does that, right? Boom, boom. Okay, but how do we do it backwards the same way? I'm going to show you. Dean. Dean's seen all this, by the way. Dean is aware of how we do it, right? So backwards is this way. And again, the
Yeah, can you just back up though?
Say again.
Yeah, Bram is asking if you could back up. There we go.
No problem. Yeah, I'll do what you guys want to a certain extent. So this one is
Fair
like,
enough.
right? This one here, right? This is beautiful. Okay, it's almost the same as this, right? Kali's Illustrissimo, half Superman punch, whatever the hell you want to call it. But one bomb. This is the optique. Bomb, bomb. You see? And then I go forward. Bomb, bomb. There's a definite end to the kinetic chain of movement. Okay, thus producing power while traveling forward, but also producing power while traveling backwards. Okay? All right, so then I have my angular lines. Boom, boom. And then I have my backward angular line. Boom, boom. Okay? That's a different way of using the triangle than other Filipino martial arts that I've seen, like in Pakita Tertia and stuff. I love what they do, but it's not what we do. Okay? And so the same thing again is it's not just for thrusting, it's for slashing. Okay? So if I'm closer, I hook in the same fashion. I hook and I hook and I hook and I hook. Okay? Or I uppercut and I hook. Now I've changed it somewhat. I used the angle and I continued on the angle. I'll go back this way now. I used the angle and I continued. Well, this time I did. This one is a version of the lateral triangle. First one is an angle. Second one is straight back. You see how I'm putting things together now, the diamonds and the laterals. So the forward and the diamond and the lateral triangle and the lateral steps, all of these things go together. Sometimes just shifting, partial, partial, full, full, bang, 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 ba-boom. Okay? Then, of course, again, we talk about tools. You can do all this shit too, bro. Okay? Elbow, elbow. Elbow, elbow, right? Elbow, 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 right? All right. So, all transferable, right? Forearm, 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 right? Back. This is now where it gets into the Kuntao kind of thing. Okay, the Chinese influence, like the Fa Jing. So I go out, I hit his neck, and I jerk him into my shoulder, my bicep, my inside of my forearm. Okay. Headbutt, the opposite shoulder. Bada bing, bada boom. All right. So something simple as this now appears to be complicated. It's not complicated. It's all the same thing. Okay. So where am I now? All right. So it's the same thing with, let's go with the knee strikes. I don't want to kick today. Okay. I can angle off, shoot a straight knee. Okay. I can angle off to do a hooking knee. Okay. And the same thing on the other side. All right. And the same thing going backwards. Go back on the angle. Okay. This is more conducive now. Again, you can't stretch a principle too far. This is more conducive to hooking with that knee. Well, bang. All right. And again, it goes asterisk. It goes full asterisk. And Dean, you've seen it before. So the thing is that you have to learn it and then forget about it in order to use it. And you know what we mean by that. Everyone does the same thing. Some people call that hard wiring. Some call it mushin, no shin, mind of no mind. All these terms, they're basically, they mean pretty much the same thing. Okay, when the shit hits the fan, you have no time to think. Or in reality, maybe what you perceive as not thinking actually is this super hyper speed thought. And you're just not aware that you're thinking fast. All right? All right. So, so the idea now is that let's talk about major and minor. Major, okay, primarily to us is the head, neck, throat from 360 degrees. Okay. Minor is usually the arm. And with a blade, you can cut people on the minors and still make them bleed out and die. So it's not that a minor can't be devastating, but that's pretty much a blade thing. Okay. Not so much an impact weapon thing. All right. Although you may get lucky and numb it up a little bit. So an example of the way we do that with the attacking the minor in order to set up the major is that if the punch comes in, I'll demo with Timmy now. We'll get away from this shadow boxing and go partner. But the idea the punch comes in and bang, I hook it with power because of the optique nature of that backward step. And then I go for the major and I get it from the angle. You see what I mean? And then the other thing is that that's the reactive way of doing it. He attacks me, and I hit his arm. I hit his arm, right? I can even get it at an angle up like that and pop it up and attack the body and boom. But it's a moving target. It's not easy to do. It's not high percentage. But you should do it in such a way that you always allow for recovery. Even if I miss his arm when I hit him, I'm here. I'm all right. I'm not going like this for my gunting. You see what I'm getting at? So all those things have to be modified and tweaked and understood that they're not done exactly the same way. All right? This thing, Guro Ted never taught that stuff. He taught the parry hammer. The parry hammer. As you get off, the hammer to the head, and then follow up. Okay? So that's another difference that you'll find between his method and the other things that are out there, which are great things. Don't get me wrong. But, when you find something that's considered a gem, you go on to the gem. All right? So, yeah, I think that's about covers what I wanted to get at in regard to major and minor. So we attack the minor sometimes also just when the guy is guarded. Okay? So what we'll do is we'll get the angle, but he hasn't attacked us. Actually, we're just destroying his guard to move it out of the way and cause pain with majors. Okay? And I think that about finishes it off with that. Do you have anyone have any questions on that, Dean, or you want me to say anything more before we go to the two-man stuff?
Only thing is, so this is per this is per Bram, and GM says stay back 3 steps or no more knives.
I'm sorry, say again, Bram.
So GM Bram says stay 3 steps back so we can see entirely the whole picture, or no more knives. Actually, okay, let me just, okay, yeah, stay right there, and I'm going to put myself, Yeah. Is it? Can you? Can you guys? Is there? I'm just trying to think. Oh. Don't go rated R on me.
I'm going jungle, man. I'm going jungle on you.
Um, I do have a, you know, I do take into consideration my audience here, you know. So, yeah, actually, if you guys stay way back there, it should be, you guys are going to be doing, you're just primarily handwork or?
Yeah, hand, elbows, forearms, and knees.
Okay, if you guys stay way back, I think we'll be good. Yeah.
Maybe headbutt, shoulders. Oh. No, that's going to be too much trouble at this point. It's going to fuck everything up. Excuse my French, by the way, but I'm a fan of French.
I knew this was not going to be a rated PG-13, so no worries. So.
Okay, that's cool. When we were growing up, back in the 1800s, we could do stuff.
So I got another question. Can you tilt it down any further?
Yeah, I can.
Let me just see. Let's see how that works. Can you go, a little more? Will it do it anymore? Let me just.
Yeah, it'll angle more, yeah.
Oh, wrong way. We got to the other way, opposite way.
What you talking about? You mean
It's going up. So I'm sorry.
You want me to straighten it upwards, not tilt it more?
Yeah, my mistake. Let's see what that does. Much better. If you can keep there, yeah, perfect. Okay, we're gonna have to run with that. That's fine. But yeah, if you guys can stay in that general area back there, then everybody will be able to see it. Perfect. Okay.
So, we don't want to make this last too long because it just gets boring. People will fall asleep, even if it's good material. So, I'll choose a few things to highlight, and I'll go ahead and choose the major and minor concepts, principle. Okay.
Sure.
We'll get that. Can you go this way a little bit? Yeah, that's pretty. Is that okay, Dean?
I think that looks good. Yeah.
Okay.
Best thus far.
I'm sorry, say again?
The best thus far. Yep.
Okay, good. All right. So for instance, we're not quite in hook punching range yet. We're in straight punching range. Okay? But we're in range of getting hit. Okay, so I don't want to be here for too long unless I attack him. All right. So the idea is that I was talking about attacking the minor while he's doing nothing, or maybe he's thinking about it, So the idea is that I want to cause pain, okay, while I angle to get this, all right, and then to come in and attack from this line. Okay, it's pretty apparent. When he throws a punch at me, oh yeah, baby. Okay, so slow it down. You see how shit is for real? Okay. Face me. Yeah, face me. Okay, good. So slowly do it. Okay, and so it's the same thing. When he attacks, I begin to turn. However, go ahead this way. This way. That's the one. I step forward on it. It should be this line. There we go. Okay. Okay. He's letting me do all that stuff. So that is called fully compliant. You should experience it because it gives you the understanding of tools and tactics. But you have to leave that very quickly and get to semi-compliant and non-compliant. This kind of thing is good to warm up with or to revisit, to cultivate skills that you may not be able to use for real, but eventually you can. Okay. And so it's the same kind of thing. These are harder to get. Okay. Now, even the inside one. On the inside one, I don't want to stay here. Okay. So on the inside one, I go this way. Now, that time I missed it. Okay. But the idea, just do this one.
Yeah.
Please follow the nutty professor. Okay, now, same here. this comes in, bang, 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 bang. All right? Or he doesn't do anything at all, and I attack his guard. Can you see all that on frame?
Yes.
Okay, so that's the principle of major and minor in regard to boxing method, blade awareness boxing.
Okay. Nice.
It's simple in the context that it's not quite like this. Okay? And again, what I was saying is that what Guro Ted preferred is this one at me. Okay? That's how we roll.
Oh, I like that. Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
When you just show there, I find you could just tell that's going to just be so much more destructive than going. That did you do basically just a double? What did you do there? That was interesting.
What did I do? See, this is improvisational. It's material that I know, but I'm just pulling it out.
You did something with a double, yeah.
But my shit don't stink, so he's okay with it. All right, so the idea, again, what I did was I got off the line to power this strike. So that's my scissor. That's a classical gunting. You see how low this is?
Yeah.
That would be a gross movement, but it's okay because I'll use the momentum to go back into this hammer.
Okay.
Okay, now watch this. Here's the fetching thing. You're all aware of that. You know what that is? So there's takedowns as well. Okay. But again, we want to remain standing. Let me do this again. We want to remain standing. We don't want to go to the ground.
When in doubt, re-kick the groin. Re-stomp the groin.
Yeah. I have this head and this head.
That was nice.
Range,
Yeah.
we call it range. So, 1 second.
Sure.
When you're 63, which really feels like 108.
I would have never guessed you were 63. So whatever you're doing, good on you. So.
Well, martial arts has been very, very good to me.
Yeah.
Okay, so are we in for him?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, good. Okay, so where am I? I'll give you another example of gunting now. So this one comes in. Now this one I do use this helping hand. Okay, let's go again. Let's go again. But I don't want to stay where I am. Okay. What I want to do is crash. 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 Okay, what I want to do on the inside is again to angle this way. He could still get me, but if I drop my chin and keep my guard up, at the very least, I'll take a shot on my head and it won't really hurt me. It'll hurt him unless he conditions his fists. All right. But the idea is when he goes slowly like this is that I go here. Okay. But it turns the corner into that.
Yeah. I like the crash. Yeah.
We're lucky we're good friends. See, we do this kind of thing. Yeah, so I think that's pretty good. So the idea is that is still, fully compliant. But when I say fully compliant, he's not all relaxed and just like letting me throw him around. He's a bit of resistance. Okay, it has to be that springiness because if it's too easy, it's unrealistic. If there's too much tension, it's also unrealistic in order to learn something. However, when it comes to semi-compliant, he'll begin to do those things I don't want him to do in round one. He'll do that in order to counter me. So, for instance, when he punches me and I go like this and I slide in, right? When I slide in, he'll retract this. Okay, well, he would retract it anyway. Well, sometimes, right? Because again, on the street, even though people are trained to hit and retract, most of the time their technique breaks down to where they'll lock it out split second, or more commonly, they drop their hand. All right, so it's not always there for the gunting. Okay, so but the idea is that, let's say you go ahead and do it, but you drop your hand. Okay, so basically I know now that I can't get that shot in, all right, just because the range is wrong, right? So I use the one. Am I in frame?
You're good, yeah.
Okay, so I use a longer method with the fingers, or with a rake, or with the wrist. It's all context based because I don't know what ranges we're going to end up at. Okay, if I can get it, I'll crash it, and I'll get back of him, right? On the inside, the same thing. Let's say he drops his arm after this. See, I now am because of blade awareness, want to not completely disengage from this arm. So what I did here when he dropped it is that I'm worried about it. You see how I'm getting at?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Legitimate blade principle transferred over into empty hand. And we don't know when we're attacked sometimes if he has a knife or it's empty or a gun. We don't know. All right. So let me try to regain my train of thought here. So again, that becomes semi-compliant now. Or for instance, how can I say this? He's going to resist certain things. So let's say for whatever reason, I get this and I get this, okay? I come on back again a little bit. Okay, so
there we go.
Whatever reason I get in, okay? And it hurts him a little bit. Now, when I pull him into the knee, he doesn't let me. He stays straight, okay? That time he gave me forward pressure because he's an extreme motherfucker, right? So what the is that I want him to resist it. Okay, I want him to resist it. And when he resists it, just like judo or wrestling or anything of that nature, I don't want to struggle against his resistance. Okay? When he resists it, I want to do the opposite thing. Because it's the natural way to do it. You understand what I mean?
Yes.
Okay, so we're not going to fight nature on that one. He gives me resistance against the pull. Okay? So I push. Or he gives me resistance against the pull. And I have to go to the next part of the the linking of his limbs in order to mess him up. Yep. So that's semi-compliant, fully compliant, simply sparring. Right. So
no, I like the stages. Yeah.
Slower. Okay, we started kicking. The rules are no kicks. It's isolate certain things. One more time. Punching. Don't do anything. I'm showing what we're doing. Punching, straight and hook. Elbows straight. Hook, up, down. Headbutt, 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 headbutt. Shoulder, 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 shoulder. Ba-bang, ba-boom, boom. All right. So, but what happens here is that it's not exactly stage fright, but it's easier to speed things up and go harder instead of keep it slow. You want to slow it down. So a little bit slower. You're going faster. Yeah. See, so again, he overcompensates when he starts eating my slow moves by going faster. You see? So you don't want to do that. That's cool. All right. And then, of course, the final stages are super intense, super fast, and at least 50% to 3/4% contact force with proper equipment and the fact that you're friends and that you can get along together.
Yeah, definitely not forgetting, right, that you're friends and yeah. Yeah, I like it. I like the whole thing on the awareness. I think that's so critical. Like after you're hitting, if you're not monitoring hands, man, out there, and they just go for their waistline, and you didn't monitor that, or just completely
Yeah.
unattentive to that,
Can we
you
move
might be trading knees for a knife.
closer to you now?
What's that?
Let us move closer to you now.
Oh, please do. Yeah,
Because I like being close to you, Dean.
I really and I too as well. Thank you.
So the point is that, at least from my perspective, again, I'm not claiming this is the best thing since hot buttered popcorn, but it is the best thing since I don't know, chili and lime.
Let's go with that. Yeah.
Okay, so this is like chili and lime, you know.
I liked it. I did. I like anything like that where the empty hand focuses on but you got mantras because he could pull a weapon out. Like I'm a fan of that. You know, otherwise you see some folks, they just jump right in a tight clinch and they're going to town and they're not even watching anything. And then,
Well, you see something like ranges. Let's just say the three ranges, right? There's sub ranges of the three ranges, but just to be simple, the three ranges exist in training. In reality, they're so transitional and can change in a split second. Everyone knows that. So it has to be hardwired. You have to be able to know what range you're at instinctively. And you'll make mistakes and hopefully you don't pay for it with your life. But techniques will break down. So you need to keep it simple, and you need, in my opinion, to train mistakes. And it's going to sound funny, but I have something I call ugly shit. And the ugly shit means that I practice in the mode of being already hit and stumbling, shoved, or pulled. And how I can recover from it quickly is what makes me survive.
I like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like right. We all. I mean, we generally train, success or what to do in transition when to establish position and all that. But right, training when man, you just got knocked off balance, man. Your head just went over that way. Like, what's your recovery at that point? You know what I mean?
Yeah. But it's still based on the objective best case scenario. If you the best case scenario or the best way to do things that you think from your perception, okay, then you take that to the point of how far you can stretch it and still have high percentages, and eventually it'll break down. So the other things have to be your backup. They just cannot be. You just can't only do the best thing each time. It's unrealistic.
Yeah. I guess like that famous fire said, everything's good till you get punched in the face, something like that.
Mike Tyson said that.
Yeah, right.
I mean,
Right? Everybody's got a plan until they get clipped, right?
that's how he is.
No, that was awesome. Awesome. Yeah.
So look, that's just a tidbit, man. And again, when I say that, you're thinking to yourself or someone out there's going, well, that's not simple then. Well, yeah, it is simple. Simple is full of details. The hours you put into training will allow you to hardwire it.
Awesome. Yeah, that was enjoyable to me. And
I mean, you're not the only one who has this understanding. The Collis Illustrissimo guys certainly have that.
Yeah, the perception and reaction.
Certainly has it. Dog certainly have it.
Sure.
Matt Thornton has it. You have it. Joe Mama has it.
Yeah, I get in there. Matter of fact, you're visiting up there, Matt Thornton, soon, aren't you?
Yeah, that's going to be January. It's during the week because my schedule gets tighter and tighter as we head to flying back home to Thailand. So Matt Thornton's is during the week on a Tuesday, and then Burlington, Washington is on a Thursday evening. And
So you got a nice tour. So you got kind of like the Northwest kind of going up the shoreline tour, right? Or something?
Yeah, well, it starts in San Diego to LA Chinatown to Mission Hills, which is in the San Fernando Valley at PDT HQ my CLAT buddies. They're also my students.
Okay.
And so they like me to teach Panuntukan and Mano when I visit them.
That's awesome. So even despite your move to halfway across the planet, they still been with you all these years. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
fantastic.
about the past 3 years before COVID hit,
Mm.
coming twice a year to do my tour.
Oh, you were before. Okay, pre-COVID. I know.
Twice a year.
COVID.
I'm too old so much, man. I mean,
for the traveling.
well, I'm going to do it smarter. I'm not going to do long hauls. I have to have a halfway stop and teach a seminar and stay a week before I go to the next spot and do the same thing. That's the only way I'm going to do it now.
Yeah, that's all right.
Because I really can't take it anymore. It about killed me this time. I swear to God.
You got killed.
It did. I really.
Traveling, I know. Traveling can be exhausting.
I was miserable first time flying for the first.
Yeah, traveling is exhausting, or it can be. You know what I mean? Depending your layovers, your stops, and what you got going on, and time zone changes. And, I mean, it's all that put together can be tough. We got a question here from Brian Canada. Are you going to make the East Coast anytime?
Next year I will attempt to, but the closest I've lined up so far is Georgia.
Georgia.
Yeah.
That's
Northwest Georgia, and
that's where Brian's from. So
that's where
you're gonna love that.
Oh, Brian.
Brian Canada.
Oh, cool. Yeah, Northwest Georgia. Yeah. And then I'm gonna do one to Fort Lauderdale and hit Dwight up to support me.
Oh, you gotta let me know on that. Please keep me in the loop on that, because that's something I will fly down. I'll make a trip out of it. See Dwight, see you, whatever. So yeah, please. Yeah.
Really, wouldn't it?
No, yeah. I'll make it happen. Let me know when that's
things with me. We can exchange. You can share some Illustrissimo and Piper, and I'm willing to trade.
Oh my God, that would be a pleasure. I would absolutely love that. Plus, just to get to see you. So please keep me in a loop. When you have like a more definitive as far as times and dates and what have you.
Yeah, I certainly will. And most I've always wanted to get there. I used to be in touch with Armando Basulto.
Armando.
So I think Armando is a PSYOP guy, if I'm not mistaken. But I first met Armando in San Diego in a seminar that I taught in the early '90s, and but he joined the French Foreign Legion, and what an adventure! I mean, that guy has some stories, brother. And
wow.
He's a spot man. He's a PSYOP man. He has the JKD concepts side to begin with, but then he kind of went in the direct, BJJ too. Ranking BJJ black belt, Kali Sayok, as I think that's what it is. And then Savat. Yeah, Savat.
Okay.
I think he's a professor in Savat. If not, he's a monitor like I am. So
well, he sounds like he's well versed. I mean, so Brian's asking, yes, Brian, absolutely. Yeah, and you're reading that question as well to me. So it'd be nice to see you.
Because I've met some real quality individuals, both on your show, Dwight's show, and then Mahipal's Immersion Labs. Mahipal's another one of those gems, man. I'm staying at Mahipal's house when I do Boulder Creek in the San Francisco Bay Area.
Oh, that's fantastic. You guys
that's Boulder Creek.
Okay, good. Yeah, you're so right about that. Like, I look at the show, it's been neat, bringing the community and the other stuff. But what's been one of the best is just the people. Like, I know for absolute certainty, like, I would not have met many of these people or got the opportunity to even train in a lot of different things if I were not for this show. I know that for 100%.
Yeah.
So it's been a gift. Most of the side dishes have been really good, but Brian's asking, when of course, where and when, far as Georgia goes.
I'll know probably within the next 6 months, I would say, but it'll be next fall. It'll be next October.
Oh, so all right, about a year from now. Okay.
Yeah,
All
it'll be
right.
next. I'm not. Yeah, I'm not. Like I told you, I can't come back to the U.S. As often anymore. I don't want to.
No, I know. I understand. Yeah, no, traveling's, yeah, no, 100%. I mean,
Yeah.
I can't wait. I think that's going to be, I'm looking so forward because in one stone, I can like you, Brian Canada, and then if you go down to see Dwight, man, I'll carry your bags for you. You know what I mean? Here, we're here.
I pitch what I'm doing in Thailand. Do you mind?
What's that?
Can I pitch what I'm doing in Thailand?
Oh, please do. Absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah.
so about 2 years ago, I started to work on the Indigo Ranch Combative Athletics Training Camp in Sattahip, Thailand. So I laid the cement foundation, I sealed and painted it, got all the stuff for the roof, and COVID shut us down. This
Oh,
closing and opening, and we couldn't get it off the ground. So I thought it was dead in the water. I thought it was finished. But right before I came on this USA trip, I had a chat with my business partner / landowner, Thai gentleman,
mm,
and he still wants to do it. I still want to do it, and I think I don't know if we're safe right now, but shit is open now, so we're going to go for it. And so what I'm trying to do, it's basically an events venue, and it can be an event for any event at all. All right, it's a pavilion. It's out
okay.
indoor. There's no walls. It's indoor outdoor. Breeze coming through. It's in the countryside, just 20 minutes away from the ocean, up in the coastal foothills of the Gulf of Thailand.
Wow.
And we have hotels, clean, new hotels with the AC and the cable TV and the Wi-Fi for $15 a night. Then we have resorts, 5, 6-star, I'd call it resorts, for $120 a night.
How is that? How's that possible? Like comparatively speaking to like
It's just the way it is, Dean. It's always been that way. In Bangkok, it's not that way. In Bangkok, the rates are exactly the same as anywhere.
oh, they're kind of like here. I got you. Okay.
But we're in Hootersville, we're in the countryside.
That's all right. I don't
But
need to be in
it's an
Bangkok.
interesting because it's a Thai Navy community, and it's a bit safer than some other areas. Not that crime is a big deal in Thailand, but it's even safer where we live because everyone's in the Navy, and everyone in the Navy is allowed to have guns, at least the officers,
Yeah.
On the soil that we live on, the street that we live on, we have a big Navy bigwig, right? And there's no way anyone's going to try to break into any of those houses.
Any of those houses with him there. No,
There's no way. There's no way, man.
that's
Yeah.
awesome. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's fantastic. Well, I'm glad that's working out for you over there. I really am. I mean, wow. It sounds like,
What to do is tap into my friendships with people around the world and have them have their training camps there.
oh my God. Yeah.
And then I'm going to show up and be their student too. You see?
See, I just made a post about that. People like they say I'm the forever student. I'll put a white belt anytime. And you're like, really? Yeah,
Well, look, there's a lot of gems out there that I haven't been exposed enough to yet.
100%, man. I tell you exactly. I try to immerse myself when I can without obviously overloading my plate. But yeah, I mean, agreed. You know what I mean? There's so much out there.
The thing is, you have to trust yourself, Dean. Like I trust myself to choose the things that I want from it.
Yeah, well, true. Yeah.
And by now, after having done this since 1974, if I haven't figured the shit out yet, wrong, man.
That's incredible. 74. Wow. That's impressive, man.
It's been interesting, and it seems just like about a year ago.
So next year, well, a year and a half, you'll be pushing 50 years of training. That's
yeah.
impressive. That is impressive. Wow. Yeah, good on you.
It's fun. It's fun. I think it keeps you healthy, man.
Oh, so many mentally, physically. I tell you, if I didn't have this, it's just such an outlet, and just 100%. Yeah, I don't know where I would be. That's a scary thought, actually. That's I mean, much like most of us. I mean, it's just so much more than the physical techniques, and you know what I mean, swinging a stick or whatever, whatever it is. Yeah.
Yeah. To me, I've said it before. Science and philosophy go together. They're not separate deals.
No, I like that. I like
Yeah.
that. Yeah. You do surprise me with some of the stuff you come out. I have to admit, right? You critter, you come out some wisdom.
Well,
I have to give it to
my,
you.
my Big Boss Jungle VIP thing. Let me explain that. Just before COVID hit, I wanted to expand my career in a different direction, and eventually, I hope it's all that I do, and that's to go on adventure excursions with like-minded people who dig martial arts and combatives. Train that, do hiking, cycling, water sports, and camping. Not hardcore camping, but in a lodge or something. Not
I'm good with that too. I'm not a hardcore camper. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's where Big Boss Jungle VIP came up.
I really hope. Well, again, I hope it pans out for you. It sounds like such a great idea.
Well, even if it doesn't, I'm going to give it a good try.
Yeah, absolutely. That's all you can do. Plus, you'll have the pavilion, so you can have people do their camps there. So one way or another, hopefully,
Exactly.
some people,
That's the idea, and it is still the idea. People can camp out on the pavilion, in the garden, whatever they want to do, and they don't have to pay anything.
Yeah, that's
yeah. We have a restaurant and showers there and everything, man.
Yeah.
There, of course, so it's in the boonies, in the jungle. Got everything.
I think it's gonna work. It sounds like it's just too good of a thing for it, not to work. I don't know. It sounds like you.
I think.
I think so. Yeah, I really do. I think once you get it up, I think people are going to see. You get some pictures up of it, and you know what I mean. You start showcasing it. Word catches. Yeah, I see that happening.
Yeah, because my plan is to stop traveling. And so, but I need to do it the smart way and travel as much as possible while I can, but then get folks to come on over there.
Yeah, it's a lot. I tell you, man. Last month there, I went to summer. It just happened to work out. I had to go to California and then another place, and I tell you, I was like, I'm not geared up for this. Layovers and I'm just.
And flying is such a mess now. It's always been a mess, but it's even more of a mess now.
I'm not cut for it. I got to be honest with you. I'm not really. No.
If I could afford first class, I wouldn't complain, but I cannot.
No, I know. Yeah, I can't. I'm not paying that. Yeah, that's just. I don't do. I've never done first class. I couldn't even tell you what it's like. I walked by it, but I can't tell you.
Well, back in the days when they would bump you up for no reason, I've been up from coach to first class on Japan Airlines before and sat up on the.
Never happened to me.
Front of the big blowing, man. But they don't do that shit anymore.
I've never had that happen. No. The best I've gone is during. What was really neat during COVID. I was like, you know what? Flights were really cheap, so I wanted to go see Vigo, a couple other people. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna go travel, and flights were cheap, everything. But the nice thing about it was I had the whole row myself. Feet, one over here, one leg over there, one leg. I mean, it just today now everybody wants to get out. And do
again, that's weird. There is no rows.
No.
They pack those.
Wow. But this has been awesome. I appreciate you coming on and doing this.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. And again, look, I don't mean to be so rude or anything. I don't appropriate anyone's culture. Okay, the root from what I do is Filipino. And the guy who ever asked that question apparently didn't watch our episodes on Filipino American.
No,
the only reason we did that was because we were taking shit from the other side to begin.
No, I know. No, yeah, you're right. I don't think anything you said said nothing offensive. I know who it is. I'm going to message him and I'm going to reference those shows and hopefully he'll get a better insight. Hopefully. That's all I can do. You know what I mean? That's all we can do.
Culture or anything. I love the Philippines, the Filipino people. I love Filipino martial arts. I'm just saying, like Mahi was explaining, things really change a little bit according to their environment, and the environment is different in the U.S. than it is in the Philippines. At least at the time that it was developed.
Correct.
Things also change in the Philippines, of course, right?
Yeah.
And that's why the guys like the Calis Illustrissimo guys, man, they have their traditional thing that they learn and share like I do as well. And then they have their progressive approach to the root of it. And that's just what I'm doing, nothing different.
Yeah, no. People know that you appreciate the culture. No, I don't think there's a person
I
on
go to
this.
the Philippines every year also.
Oh, wow, okay.
For the longest time, since 2009.
Yeah, I think anybody that knows you, I think they know that. So, yeah, they know where you stand. So I think it was just somebody that perhaps, like I said, I'm going to message him. I think he might just perhaps.
But like I said, Coke and a smile.
Yeah, I know. I know. No, you were fine. You were fine. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. So no worries there.
Right on.
But and I'm sorry, brother. What's your name?
Oh, Tim.
Tim Greenman. Tim Greenman.
Tim. All right. I appreciate you helping him out with the demos. Thank you.
This guy, he has showed me so much and took care of me. And, I'm sure you feel the same way. He's a freaking hidden gem. We're used to calling people gems, but diamond in the rough, right? But
definitely in the rough. Definitely in the rough.
I'm very thankful for you, all the stuff that you're doing.
Oh, I appreciate it.
Podcasts on YouTube and these things, and it's great for the art. And thank you so much.
No, thank you, and I appreciate that. And yeah, you got a diamond there for sure. Yeah, that's a critter I got to meet, man. When you come to Georgia, man.
But the reality is that I'm lucky to have attracted skilled martial artists that can help me. My students are my teachers, man.
Isn't that funny how that works sometimes? Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Wow. Well, I appreciate it, guys. Hey, you take care. And if I don't talk to you, please enjoy your seminars, enjoy your trip going up the coast and all that. I hope everything works out great for you and all that.
Thank you, Dean.
All right. We'll be in touch. Yeah, please stay in touch, especially with you coming next year. So don't be a stranger. Yeah.
No, I won't, man. We're going to get together. We got to all hook up. Otherwise, I need to meet real life people that I've become close friends with online. I have to. It's a
Same
goal.
here. I know. It's like I know. Like, who wants to go to their deathbed knowing that they could have met somebody they didn't? You know what I mean? Not this guy.
Yeah, because I want to tell my jokes a lot in person.
Yeah. Oh my God, I can only imagine.
One more before I sign off. So I'm doing community service now. It's been a long time since I've done that. Two things I want. One is at Gull Lake High School in Richland, Michigan, where my daughter goes, and I used to work there. My mom used to live right down the road from them. So it's a lovely place where we're staying, and I'm teaching 4 workshops on awareness of human trafficking and sexual trafficking.
Good on you.
Awareness, working on awareness drills, and full understanding that fighting is a last case scenario. I'll call it fighting. People like to call it self-defense. It's all fighting regardless. Okay, so I'll use the term fighting. So fighting is always a last resort. If you have to fight, it means that you made a mistake somehow with your awareness. And all of us, so that thus we need to learn how to fight. Okay? But people don't understand that. And people still think that it's the magic of the Kung Fu cinemas and we fly through the air and scream and kick people in the head. And we know as educated martial artists that that's simply not true.
We're prone to getting knocked out just like anybody else.
And lastly, the other one that I mentioned to you when we did the test run was at the Martial Arts History Museum. I'm going to do a benefit seminar for them there on a Thursday. Thursday. And so I look forward to that as well. Michael Matsuda does a great job there with keeping that Martial Arts History Museum alive. That's
awesome. Good on you for doing that. The whole thing on that prevention, man. That's awesome. That's great stuff.
I need to do community service. It's something worthwhile.
Absolutely. No, that's phenomenal. I'm glad to hear that. Really. Well, all right, man.
Okay, brother.
All right. Thank you so much.
Take care.
We'll take you care. All right, you guys.
Take care, Dean.
You too. Stay in touch.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye. All right, that wraps up, and I'm going to show you guys this. So, anyway, as you guys know, I went a little rant, an FME discussion today. I don't know if I should call it a rant, but at any rate, just a little frustrated that folks are not jumping in on these things. It's a way to get exposed to different things, different styles. I do it just to see how other people teach. I know I can use improvement in my relaying of information. I know that for a fact, as well as improving my physical skill set. And so these are a really good way to get exposed to different teachers and the arts and all that, and your art overall supporting the community. Not a lot of money. 20, $30 is the most. 30 is the most I've seen charged for these things. 2 hours, two different instructors. Kind of bargain. None of us are making home runs on this as far as financially. I can guarantee you that. So if you can, and if you can, as I mentioned in the post, they're downloads. Everybody is offering a download when they do these. Okay. If you can't make it, you get the download. I mean, right? If you say you didn't see it, okay. Well, if you're part of a lot of groups, they pretty much get circulated through all the groups. So just be on the lookout for these. These are, and there's more to come. I mean, it's starting to pick up now. More and more folks want to be involved. There's a bunch coming in October, as well as some already planned in November. All right. And before you know it, December is going to be before us. There'll probably be a few in there too. So it's a nice way to go to seminars without flying across the country, spending a boatload of money. You can kind of right in your own living room, bedroom, wherever, and get exposed to this stuff. So do consider doing this, enjoying them. It really helps out the community and the people that are doing this. Again, we're not making a lot, really. The average is I always try to, can we get 10 people that paid? You know what I mean? So this way we're at least getting our time, travel, whatever, depending on if we have to go to another place to do it because we have a training partner to showcase, what have you, whatever. And they're all been posted in FMA discussion. There's an actual post highlighted, dedicated to this, what's coming down and all that. So when the flyers get made, I put them in there. But there's a few coming up. The next one here is what I got here is coming up this next weekend, October 16th. And this one's going to involve Guru Tom Pena and Duan Jack Latour. So lightning, scientific, Bikita Turja. Okay, so yeah, check it out. Again, if you can't make it, they're all offering downloads. All right, folks. And as the others ones come in, I got to post doing another one with Coach Danny. So I got to put that in the highlighted section of the FMA discussion, as well as some of the others are coming down. There's that. I'm trying to recall who else is doing one. Oh, Coach Danny and Alan Chambers. I think they got one coming up. Matter of fact, I know they got one coming up. And I'm doing another one with Coach Danny, I believe, November 11th, Friday. So yeah, but again, I'm gonna highlight these in there so folks can be aware and see them. But if you don't see them and you have a question about them, by all means, just message me. I'd be more than happy to send you the flyer or whatever. Okay. All right, folks, that's it. Those of you jumped in, I appreciate it. Thank you for commenting. And who is next? Celine Duffy this week. Well, who's got to get those females on here? We have to give them their share. And Robert Small, Chris Nolly, I think I have to reach out to him. He's going to be coming. Eugene Samuel. And I think there are a couple others. Towards the end of the month or early November, Alan Zacchetti. Lionheart, PTK. Yeah, he's agreed to come on. So I think that'll be interesting. Michael Blackgrave came back on social media. He said he would come on. Greg Bichardo, Celot, he's going to come on, just do demos. That's another thing, folks. If you've been on already and you want to come back on and do demos, just let me know. You know what I mean? If I covered your bio already and you want to come on and just showcase demos, please let me know. The episodes are generally shorter because we don't cover bio. You're just going to showcase what you do. So by all means, if that's of interest and you've been on already, reach out to me. We're kind of segue into this. where we get folks on that have been on before just to showcase their stuff, whatever style they're doing, what have you. You get a training partner and show your stuff. It's a good way, but maybe you might get students too out of it. So let me know on that. All right. So thank you. If you've not already subscribed to FMA Discussion, please do so. All the money that we receive goes to charity. Okay. All right, folks. See you next time.